Back that comes in a variety of sizes that can handle everything from pediatrics to bariatrics. Those sizes include everything from 12 wide by 10 tall up to 24 wide, 22 tall. What's unique about this back I'm going to take the cover off. It's Velcroed on. And what you have here is an all aluminum shell with grooves running down the back for the hardware to slide up and down in. That's for mounting it on the canes. If you have a vent tray in the way, cross tubes, what's nice about this is you have, depending on the size of the back, will depend on the size of the groove that you have, but in this particular one you've got about 7-8 inches of movement here, so there should always be a spot to mount it on the chair with this design. What you're also seeing is a hole cut in the back. It's for a couple reasons. One, it's for lightning. Two, when we mount it with a patient in the future, you're going to see how this hole comes in for giving you a good view of whether you're making the appropriate contact with the patient's back or not. We do have pre-drilled holes in here for both the Comfort Company's headrest hardware as well as some of the, not competing, but some of the other companies that also offer hardware. The back by itself is aluminum and it's very rigid. If I use all of my weight here, it's thin, but it's extremely strong. There's no bending or flexing, particularly once it's mounted to the chair. And expose the inner workings of this. You'll see that we have 3 different layers of foam. We have a structural layer to help hide some of the molding characteristics that you'll see later. We have a medium density foam, and we have a 1/4 inch extra soft visco memory foam. When I pull this back, 2 aluminum bars. These aluminum bars are stitched into pockets that run down the length of the back, and they're offset from each side of the spine. What we can do with these bars is they slide out. You can see the pocket that they're held in. These slide out, and you can adjust these. If you guys follow me here, they're rigid, but they are moldable. And these aluminum bars can be molded to start taking on the shape of your patient's back. You can even get really dramatic inputs on this if you wanted to bend it over a piece of tubing in the field. I've used my feet where I can put a really sharp bend on it and bend it back the other direction and put another reverse direction on it. And if you guys see the shape that we're getting, you can imagine the type of back shape that you would get. This thing is very strong, very robust, and it can handle everything from 3/4 of an inch, 7/8 of an inch, and 1 inch diameter canes. I'm going to show you right now how fast and easy it is to put these on. And because we talked earlier about this back, on how these mounting points can move up and down, you don't have to break out the tape measure here. If you're off a 1/2 inch from side to side, 3/4 of an inch from side to side, heck, it doesn't matter if you mounted this one all the way to the top and this one all the way to the bottom because you had to have a power module for the chair sitting over here. That's fine as well. What's really important is that these things are lined up and down for the pins to go in, and I'll show you guys that in a second. So we're going to put these on. We're not going to get too precise here, but we're going to slide it on. And I have a 5mm Allen wrench in my hand, and you guys should know that every single bolt that I'm going to be tightening today on this, uses the same M6 bolt. So it's one tool to get the whole job done. There we go. Depending on how you're going to be mounting your back, we might get into specifics later, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to be putting your back on pretty straight. If you're going to be doing any rotation with the back, where you need to mount it off to the side over here, you might be mounting your hardware offset a little bit. And you can mount them offset if you're going to be twisting the back. But for today's demonstration, we're going to mount it the old-fashioned way, straight on. If you were done with this process, it's one of those steps you're going to come back to. And you're going to tighten this little set screw, and that pushes in the set screw into the aluminum or steel tubing, and it helps preventing these from twisting. It's a locking feature. I prefer to loosen everything up on here. There are 2 bolts here. There are 2 bolts here. These 2 bottom upper and lower bolts allow it to slide up and down. You can slide it up. Sorry, let me hold this steady right here. When you snug this one and this one, that prevents it from sliding up or down. It's now locked in the track. We're going to loosen those back up again. These right here are for your depth adjustment and for your angle adjustment. So, we're going to keep everything loose, and if you come right behind me over my shoulder, what I like doing is pulling these in all the way to the back side. So pull this one in, and you can start on the left or right side. I usually start over here on the left. I drop it in there, and I bring this one over to here. I put it into the hole. If you don't wrestle it, it'll go in. It's all meant to fit nice and easy. You want to get this part right here about as straight as you can from front to back, and then tighten this little clamp right here. It's going to hold it in this part into that cane clamp. You're going to do the same on this side. Right? And now what you have left is the up and down and the forwards and backwards, so your depth adjustment. You can also get your angle in here. So, look at how easy this is once it's mounted. I can get him in front of the canes, put a little pressure on this, Andy, to several inches behind the canes. We can also adjust for height here. Get it to more closely fit him. If we want it to go higher, what's really neat is, sit back, Andy, it's all right. Not all the way on me. We're gonna snug in this. One side. Snug in the top 2 screws. This one and this one. Stay there. And if I want, I can come over to this side, because I would like this back to go a little higher on him. And get everything snug. I can go back to loosening up these cane clamps now, right? Oh, sorry guys. And I can grab both cane clamps with Andy sitting in the chair and raise this up to the height that I want for him, which that looks a little better. Agreed? Snug it back down. And if I have to at this point in time, I can re-loosen up these top bolts and do any little fine tuning for up and down, and my top bolts over here for my in and out, my depth adjustment, and my angle. So if I needed to move Andy forward a little, I can. If I want to get him to recline a little, I can do that as well. All It is just so easy, you guys. It's like a single point of access with one tool. Off by a little bit. And this Acta-Back with the Compass hardware will allow the hardware to reach out to 19-inch widths and into 17-inch widths. So whatever back size you order in the array of backs from 12 wide up to 24 wide, you can reach out an inch and in an inch within that specified back that you order. And those backs, take these stays and I can line them up roughly with the kind of rotation that Andy has, and I can get them, I can kind of match them to what he's showing me from the side. And I can slide this back in. And you'll see from the back side in our nice window that we were talking about earlier, it's showing me the input that I'm getting on him. If I needed more, I can pull this back out, give him some more, which I know he does with the way that he's sitting, and we're getting pretty aggressive here. That doesn't change anything. They still slide in. There we go. Push this thing down. And now you can see how aggressive that is. That can accommodate for a lot of rotation. I can pull it out and I can match them right in my lap. It's a lot easier. So I'm going to try and match these. See how good I am, huh? Just start bending it and see how close you get. Wow, I'm almost there, aren't I? All right, we're pretty close. You hold them side by side, and you guys can see what we got going on here. Now I can slide them both in. If you come to the back side and look again, we're going to put one on each one of these pouches, and it's going to push on each side of the spine on the more meaty tissued area. Really take a look at the shape that we just created. And I'm going to go through this process quickly. We'll go to the deep back and put this one on Andy. I'm going to peel this one back quick and show you guys something on our deep back. What's unique to working with the Comfort Company, as I mentioned earlier, is we use the same tool for mounting the cane clamps, for adjusting the hardware, and also for adjusting the wings on our deep back. See these two screws back here that are accessible from the back side. You pull this cover back. What you're getting at are these wings. These wings can handle angle rotation and in and out. This is an 18 wide back, and this 18 wide back, when I move these two wings all the way in, the inside measurement is 13 inches. When I pull them out all the way, they're 15 inches. And as you can imagine, if the patient is leaning towards the right or to the left, I can rotate these things accordingly to disperse the patient's weight from cutting into this top edge to opening the angle up and matching the lean that they have and getting a much better pressure distribution. Don't be afraid of loose. Loose is good. The nice and loose hardware is really easy to work with. It's not going to fall off. There's a lot of threads of engagement here, so I'm going to bring it around here. We're going to catch one side, right? We're going to get this one straight like we talked about earlier and tighten this. We're going to come over here, drop this one in, get it straight as well, from front to back. Put it down. And now we're back to what we did earlier, where we can go up and down and handle our depth adjustment. Right? So, we're going to get this close for Andy. Andy, why don't you lean back a little? I can accommodate, lift your right arm up so I can get a better view of this lateral. This is where, when we talk about this track, so you guys, this is how nice you can fine tune this with him sitting right in the chair. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than this to handle the height. Look at this. That's all the way down. I'm going to bring it all the way up. So, we're going to put this down in the middle. All right, you guys will see we got it nice and square. One tool, top screw, snug it in place. Come to the other side. Do the same thing. And if this was our final destination for the back, I'd go through and tighten everything else.